everything that I do really is empowered by like who I am. I cannot separate it.
Right.
And it does get me in trouble. It gets me in trouble.
Just calm down.
Oh, the tone policing.
Don't have that pink hair.
The tone policing that happens in an all-white woman company.
Tell me about that. I don't know about that. I know about tone policing.
Yeah. So when you're raised, when you're AFAB or raised as a woman in this culture, you are raised as something quiet, usually. You are raised as a yes person. You're raised as a people pleaser, usually. These are like culturally things that are happening in our culture.
Otherwise, you're a bitch.
Bossy. Oh, that's a word.
And even worse words that we could say.
Right. And as you can already tell, that's not me. And these women that I work with, I love, and I love lots of them, and I respect almost all of them. But they do not know how to handle someone who does not fit their idea of what they think a woman should be.
Okay.
And I do tell them I am not a woman, so you don't have to think about it that way. But then it might be even worse then, because then I'm still even other. And they are very anti-other.
I can imagine that. So I grew up at a church that was very shrill and perfectionist. And I can imagine that this sort of situation is kind of like that. Like very shrill, very don't step out of line. Yeah. Everything you do must look and sound very good.
Yes. Yeah. We have a Girl Scout promise in law that we follow, that we should follow, that really like influences a lot of how. And one of those laws is respect authority, and it's really gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't make my scouts say that.
Their voices just drop out at that point.
Right.
When I was a kid, you know how we had to say the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing sucks, but then I actually was an atheist when I was very little. I was like 4, 5, 6 years old, and I was thinking of myself as an atheist.
Yeah.
And so I would drop out the God part.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So, but people wouldn't notice it. I just wouldn't say that part, and then I'd go on to the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's my little rebellion.
Well, and God was added in the 60s.
Yeah. Right.
You want to be a traditional? Go back.
And why even have a Pledge of Allegiance? We're a pluralistic, diverse country.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Why don't we have separation of church and state right down to the bones?
Yeah, and we always have to remember that this place started in genocide and slavery and colonialism. So,
Yeah, which actually I wanted to mention that we are on the land of the Ute, the Cheyenne, and the Apache.
All right.
And they all go by different names, which I can't remember right now, indigenous names. And this land was stolen off of a treaty that was made in the late 1800s. And I want to recognize that and where we are.
Yeah. Let's talk about the pronouns again, about Fae in particular. Because you're the only person I've ever met who's used those. So how would somebody use that in reference to you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're giving a little lesson here.
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh, now I have to think of sentences that use it. Okay. Because I don't use my own pronouns very often, which is hard, right? When you're trying to
call me that then.
Right. Faye is wearing a red shirt, and their favorite color is orange.
You're correct.
Yeah? Oh my gosh, really?
Anything goes.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Flagging.
I'm totally kidding.
I love it.
And go on, please.
Okay. Yeah, so, and then Fair's, that shirt is one of Fair's.
Okay, so there's Faeries. Okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because I've just never heard it. I've heard of people using those, but I've never met somebody and I've never heard them actually used. Do people use that a lot with you? Is it a struggle?
It's a huge struggle.
Okay.
It's a huge struggle. I kind of gave in and said use they them because it was so much of a struggle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even like here at work, I can't get people to use them. And I've been here almost 3 years.
I got to say, though, that the silver lining to that is that they, them is so much easier now.
It is.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, at least there's something to fall back on that doesn't make me cringe every single time I hear it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really good for me to have in my vernacular now.
Mm-hmm.
And that everybody else has it too now. It's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, like, pronouns are so nuanced, right? And there's so much that even, like, how I tell you my pronouns, right? That I can tell you exactly how I feel about my pronouns.
Yeah, tell me about that, because I don't even know the origin of Fae. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Fae comes from the gender term Fae-gendered, which is the spelled Faegndr. And
when I think of Fae, I think of magic.
Yes. It's actually this really cool, I'm going to call it philosophy almost, about like keeping the magic of what it means to be a woman.
Okay.
Right? There's really amazing things that I still hold on to. That power, I think, can come from any gender on any of the expansive universe that we are on. Mm-hmm. There's power in all of them. Mm-hmm. And I particularly do think of myself as a more feminine person. Mm-hmm. But I also pull on different parts of other stars that I always embrace.
And maybe not so limiting by the human experience.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. To be honest, like, I don't think anybody's technically cisgender. Like, in my eyes, I'm like, everybody's on a spectrum at least, right? There are so many stars on this galaxy graph that who
wants to be put in a box?
Yeah, like, no one of us is the same. No two of us is the same.
Yeah.
Are the same.
Yeah.
And we should embrace that more than, like, telling people, hey, you have to be, like, if you're gonna be something, you gotta be on one of these labels, you know? Which is, again, why I'm all like, yeah, technically I say I'm Fae-gendered, but I just go, like, I'm queer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Queer is good for a lot of things.
Yeah, it's like an umbrella term for me.
It's nice shorthand, yeah.
Right? And I'm like, if you want to ask me more, you'll ask me more.
Yeah. I actually separate those out, like queer and trans, from LGBT. You know, I find, well, like a lot of people, I find LGBT, etc., to be kind of a mouthful. Yep. And I'm not very limber for some reason in the way that I talk.
Oh, no tongue talent?
Yeah, no, not really. I do have tongue talent, but not for saying these letters. But yeah, well, I had to push back on that. I used to be a dyke. So
we love it.
There we go. Anyway. Oh, you got me flustered now. I cannot think. What were you talking about? I have no idea.
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Oh, but I prefer to say just queer and trans.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't want to say queer and trans for people who don't deserve like my respect as much. Yeah. So then I will say more LGBT, etc. You know. If it's more like formal or something. If it's more community, I'm like queer and trans, you know.
Yeah, and you know, when you're like, when you speak to community, you're talking, queer, like cutie pack, like stuff like that. Like,
I don't even know what that is.
You know, queer trans people of color.
Okay.
Yeah, cutie pack.
I've heard of BIPOC.
Yeah. You can say cutie BIPOC if you want to, which is a little shorthand for that. But yeah, like the community claiming back words is very important. I think that is important in a lot of cultures. Claiming back of symbols, claiming back of words.
Do the people who identify as Fae-gender, do they are they connected at all with the gay fairies, for instance? Because they seem to have kept fae, or being fairy-like or magical, as part of queerness and gayness. They kept that going, it seemed like.
Right.
In kind of a time when it was, we were going more towards like the moral majority, and there was a lot of death in the gay community, and they kept that going, and they're very welcoming of trans people as well as just like gender non-conforming ideas and identities. Is there any connection with that?
So the Fae-gender community is very small.
Okay.
The like little group we have on Facebook has like 225 people in it, I think. So small.
Okay.
Because it is neopronouns, like a neogender.
Okay.
Only if you're looking for it will you find it, really.
Well, the gay fairies are also very small. They live in communes usually. Sometimes it's urban, mostly rural though.
Yeah. But that is kind of like how I feel about it. I like to say my favorite color is glitter.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm covered in a rainbow like nothing. We were just talking, like, I'm actually covered in tattoos, even though like you can only see my freckles right now, because like I'm an art piece. Yeah. Yes, my body is a temple, and I want to decorate it with art.
Yeah.
I like want to bring glitter and glam and style and sass to everything I do.
Yeah. How do you have the energy for that?
It's exhausting.
Okay.
It's exhausting.
But so it's exhausting, but then you also have a lot of joy in it.
Right. Yeah.
I guess you can't do anything else, right? Right. What else are you going to do?
And sometimes I do, right? Okay. And then that's the dark part of like the other side of who I am is somebody who struggles with chronic severe depression. I experienced suicidal thoughts just very recently.
Sure. So lack of hope.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, we were talking about I feel jaded. Yeah. And then this has been my whole entire life. I've been mentally and chronically ill my whole life. And with many different things, and it gets really exhausting.
Well, if you can feel what's going on around you and you want to address it, that's very difficult work. So it makes sense that people who do these kinds of things struggle. Yeah. And then like, just thinking about how the world is not trauma informed, and almost every single one of us has experienced trauma. Right. Even therapists aren't good with it.
I know. Oh, the amount of times I've had a therapist go, yeah, I'm giving you discharge paperwork. I can't handle your case.
Yeah, the last therapist I had, which was not too long ago, which it's so hard to find a queer and trans competent therapist here in Colorado.
Oh my gosh.
Even though it looks good on paper that there's a lot of that going on. No. It is very hard, especially if you're on Medicaid.
Yeah, they will not take insurance.
No. Yeah, she said to me, she was doing a countdown after I told her something, that was kind of intense. She was like, okay, well, we have 10 minutes left. And I was waiting for her to, just give me any kind of feedback, anything. Okay, well, we have 5 minutes left.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, okay, well, I'm firing you, basically.
Yeah. Wow. I actually, I told you I went through that nervous system shutdown.
Sure.
I actually was out of work for a whole week and a half.
Okay.
And had to go to, had to take some severe action.
Inpatient or something.
To get better.
Yeah.
Because my psychiatrist, who actually is not a psychiatrist, is not even a nurse practitioner, is took me off of 80 milligrams of cymbalta. I don't know if you know what that is.
I've been on cymbalta. It didn't work well for me.
Yeah,
Made
it
me
didn't
very
work
itchy.
well for me either. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it made me itchy too.
Yeah.
Also, I lost my appetite. It was awful. Anyways.
Yeah, and it dampens your sexuality as well. I
Yep.
mean, all these drugs have just these horrible side effects.
Horrible side effects.
Yeah.
It's awful. And I have been on and off so many drugs in the past 7 years. I've been medicated since I was 18, but on and off because of insurance.
Okay. Right.
And then for the
inconsistent
medical
care.
Yeah. And then for the past like 5 to 7 years, I've been just like experimenting with any drugs that they'll give me, everything but lithium.
Okay. Is that because you're unable to find a therapist that can really help you, or the medication's very much a part of what you're doing to help yourself?
I think it is a combination.
Okay. It's a touchy subject.
Right. No, it's okay. I'm just trying to find the words.
And I grew up Christian Science too, so I have an aversion slightly to medication, even though I'm conscious of that.
Yeah, my nesting partner is that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. And even my parents, they weren't like medication averse, but they didn't talk about mental health very much, even though my mother was very severely mentally ill.
Yeah, mine too.
And so I did take medications for a while. I just needed help.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
was it like you needed help over a hump and then you were okay for a bit kind of thing? Sorry if this is
you're
getting
good.
too
You're
detailed.
good. No, it's like I needed assistance getting to a baseline of okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I feel like that's where I've been constantly, like, survival mode.
Okay.
Like...
I'm sad that you're ever in survival mode like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's been pretty hard. Yeah. But anyways, my psych took me off of that medication, and then I had a complete nervous system breakdown because I quit it cold turkey, and there's actually a syndrome named after cymbalta being quit cold turkey. Even not quit cold turkey. You can just, like... drop off of it gently, and it'll still give you up to 6 weeks, maybe even permanent side effects.
Cymbalta is very difficult. Yeah, going on it and then coming off of it. Yeah, I'm surprised it's even legal.
You want to know why it's legal?
Why?
Because it's not called cymbalta anymore.
Okay.
So there was a lawsuit because of this syndrome. And they had to shut down the production of cymbalta.
Okay.
So what did Cymbalta do? They just changed the name around and
maybe changed the formula ever so slightly.
Like changed the formula ever so slightly and then submitted it again. And so now it's like called the generic of Cymbalta. It's technically like that. I don't know. It's very strange. So technically it's not Cymbalta, but everybody knows it's Cymbalta.
Yeah, right.
And that's how they get around like it because nobody has like sued them again.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, if you're disabled, if you are depressed, are you going to really be able to sue people?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could barely function. I was on the phone every single day with my psych trying to get them to help me every single day. And there's this one person I got on the phone and I'm kind of mad because this man loves Dolly Parton and he was a butthead. And he was like, I was like, I'm having suicidal thoughts. Like, I'm really scared. And he was like, do you know the suicide hotline? I was like, no. He was like, well, you should just call the suicide hotline. I was like, that's not what I want, though. I just want to talk to my psych. And he was like, yeah, just call the suicide hotline, and hung up on me.
Wow.
He didn't even give me the number.
Wow.
Which is 988, by the way, in this town.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a national, I think it might be 9. What they do is you have an initial number that you call, and then they find the local place that to connect you with. Sometimes that's not so great for people who live in smaller towns.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
And if you're a queer and trans person, or somebody who's somewhere from liberal to leftist, somewhere in there,
right,
you're likely to know the person on the phone, unfortunately. That can be a problem for some people.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish there was a little bit of choice in there about that.
Yeah.
I think that maybe this network is not considering that issue.
Yeah. Or it needs more funding, honestly, more resources to be able to get the people.
Yeah.
Get the people there. Pay the people.
And we just need a lot more therapists and counselors of various sorts out there doing various levels of work like this.
Yeah. Exactly. And give them grace. Give people 4-day work weeks.
So they can have a life beyond that.
Yeah. That's my huge nonprofit thing. Like, nonprofit people everybody needs 4-day work weeks, honestly. Everybody. We do not have time. We can't survive with only one person working in our house. That's if we have another person in our house and we're not working 2 jobs or 3 jobs or 5 jobs.
Imagine too, like all the care that would be given to children and like being able to bond with kids and playing and all that stuff. All the skills that you can impart, like cooking and fixing things, whatever, if you had more time.
Right, and the little things that you could do to take care of yourself and your community. And
take a bath.
Oh my
Take a luxurious bath.
Yeah. And or like fix your car that's leaking, or maybe you mow your yard. Like these little things that people don't have time for anymore.
Yeah, people, it's almost like our time off is just a recovery time.
Yeah, exactly. And to order groceries if you're lucky, or go get groceries if you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, doctor's offices aren't open on Saturdays and Sundays. So,
what is that?
Doctor's offices aren't open.
Yeah.
So you can't take care of that chore.
Right.
During your days off.
Right. Yeah, that's always so strange to me how, like, caregiving or whatever is always during, like, so-called business hours.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to take a whole day off from work to go get some care.
Right.
So strange.
Yeah. I'm very lucky that I have 2 therapists. So, and I have pretty good-ish insurance through Girl Scouts.
I'm glad for that.
Yeah. They're very, like, gender and sexuality inclusive, too. And that's pretty okay, I guess. But one of my therapists is my individual therapist, and the therapist I had before, they were a non-binary person working on their PhD. They were polyamorous. They were like also into D&D and LARPing like me, and so it was really awesome.
I love that because you don't have to explain so much to those folks.
Yes.
Or convince them of what you're doing is okay.
Right.
And
yeah.
They often take harm reduction a lot more seriously.
Yes. The new one I have, she's pretty good. She's very no nonsense, which I kind of like.
Yeah. Good with boundaries.
I might need these days. And she is not queer, but she's like very like there. Yeah. Like she's done her homework, which is really good.
Yeah. Like the butch straight gym teacher or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Run across that gym right now.
Exactly. That's how she feels sometimes. But it's journaling.
Open that book.
Right. So good. She's like, do you like homework? I was like, not really. She was like, cool, you're getting some. And I was like,
Speaking of that sort of arrangement where somebody's telling you what to do.
Is that where we're going?
Well, this is a hard segue. But you mentioned earlier, it just popped in my head, and I have to, if something pops in, I have to
go for it.
grasp it. You were talking about sex work.
Yeah.
Could we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. One of my identities also is kinky AF. And
actually, can I take my dog for a break and then we can
do it.
Kind of round out
I'll get some
interview.
water.
Yeah, let's round out the interview with that.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
He doesn't quite beg. He just kind of looks at you.
That's what my dog does. And she knows it's bad. I'm like, that's bad too.
Yeah.
I taught you not to do that.
Luckily, he's never stolen anything.
Yeah.
Like off a counter, so I can trust him.
Yeah.
A lot of dogs can't be trusted,
Yeah.
They're just like, too bad.
Mm-hmm.
You left that out for me.
All right, bunny.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Can I take a picture? I'm going to take a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I already turned it off.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Just keep it in your head.
Yeah. I like it when, like, I'm sort of poly with my dog. Like,
Yeah.
I love it when he forms relationship with other people. Sometimes people are like, oh, my dog, you know, they say strange things to me like, oh, my dog, your dog likes me better than you. And I'm like, really, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I love that, actually, that he's his own being and that he can make his choices. You know?
Yeah. My dog's like that, too, actually. Oh, my gosh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's like... I think it stems from the anarchist sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, I call myself a relationship anarchist most of the time.
Oh yeah, I've just learned about that.
It's a very divisive term.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh wait, it is on. Okay, so we're back. We were already talking.
I don't want to. He's like, I am part of you now.
He's okay.
Okay.
Yes, I know. You love people out here. Yeah.
He's so cute.
I know. He's a good boy. Okay. So we were going to segue onto sex work, but then also you brought up relationship anarchy, which is a term that I've just heard very recently.
Yeah. And now it's a newer term. But it stems from old roots. Very, like, stems from leather and kink culture.
Okay.
Whereas, like, kind of anybody, this is going to sound weird, but, like, anybody's up for grabs. Like, I'm not going to close off or shut down relationships with people because of anything, really. Like, I don't have a lot of rules around, like, I don't have any rules around who I date, what kinds of relationships I make, like, things like that.
So, I'm imagining that you have preferences, but you don't have, like, really solid gender or identity or et cetera kind of.
Yeah. And... Yeah, I have preferences, right? I'm a human still.
Yeah. But you don't have like hard boundaries about certain kinds of people.
Right. The only thing I do is say I don't date cops. I don't date military.
What would you talk about?
Yeah. Like, we still have to have chemistry and get along.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I have standards.
Not anything goes.
Right. But it is more of like, I have the opportunity to create whatever kinds of relationships may come along.
Okay.
There's nothing stopping me.
And it's not like you have to get permission or make a special arrangement with somebody that you're already with.
Yep. Yep. So it's very divisive because a lot of people are not ready for that. Right? I'm my own person. And I know that my person trusts me. So,
So when you say your person, what kind of relationship is that then?
So, like right now, I have one nesting partner who's long-term.
Okay.
Right? That person trusts me. I trust them. We know that we are not going to do anything to harm the other intentionally, and that we can talk through anything else that happens.
Is this basically about cohabitation, or is it more than that?
I think it's more than that. I think it's more of a like, my spirit is free. Leave me alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I like, and lots of people are like,
that would be hard for some people to handle.
That's like fuckboy energy. Yeah.
That's fuckboy energy.
Yeah. I know I got it.
I was going to say there's a lot of freedom in that in the gay men's community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I know a lot of older established couples that have been together for decades.
Right.
Who their normal functioning is to be very open.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a relationship.
And like, I know elder couples that like, especially lesbian dyke couples that have separate houses, have separate rooms, like, have totally separate lives from their people that surround them and their partners, however many they may have. But they are still lifelong partners.
Right.
And that's another thing that I cultivate in relationship anarchy, is that person is there for however long they're supposed to be there. And also, that person, I want to be there for as long as they possibly can. However long is healthy for us.
What do you think about the license of marriage? The legal part. Yeah.
I think it's bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that it creates trauma and drama and bogs down the court system. We waste so many resources.
And people rip each other apart in divorce proceedings.
My gosh, yeah. The resources that we waste on divorce, on child custody hearings, but also on marriage. Like, actual getting married. The ceremony itself that most people are having inside of a god-ugly church.
Yeah.
Surrounded by people they don't actually know or even like.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of obligations.
It is.
Who wants to live a life that is just about obligations?
Exactly, and that's when I got married. I had a hand fasting. I'm also pagan, and I had a hand fasting with my nesting partner, and we had, I think, like 36 people at our whole ceremony, and we were off in the mountains at like a yurt village, and we just had like a little round ceremony. Everybody was standing, and they all participated, and it was like really cute, and that was all I needed. I spent $2,500 on everything. That's all I needed.
Yeah.
And that showed my community everything that I needed for myself. And I had no obligations to other people. Yes, did other people want something different? Guess what? My in-law wasn't even there. My father-in-law wasn't even there. I was like, fuck that dude. Yeah, did you hear that, John?
Yeah, it's our holiday family get-togethers here in this country, or, you know, hand fasting in your case, or in other people, maybe marriage or legal marriage or civil or religious, whatever. It's so strange how we get together around people that we don't like or that we've grown past, or that, you know, there's some kind of rub there. It's so strange. It's so strange to me. It sounds more stressful than it is joyous.
Right. Yeah, and it is. And like, I think we really need to talk about how we started building nuclear family units.
Yeah.
And how that tore apart this country.
I think that's a whole other interview, though. That's a really
I'm like, we could talk about so much.
Subject. Yeah, that's for another time.
I think the biggest thing that has helped me, especially within the last couple of years, is romanticizing what I have. I think there's lots of, like, in our culture, in capitalism especially, we have been taught that scarcity is our lives. We constantly need what other people have. We constantly need what we don't have. And yes, I love things. I collect things. I'm a maximalist. So I understand things, but also romanticize what you already got. Like, I got a cute backyard. Like, I'm going to put on some fun, like, music like I'm in a historical romance and walk around my backyard a little bit, you know? Like, I'm going to have a little fun with my life. Like, use your imagination every once in a while. Pretend you're a child. Like, all of us have children that are unhealed inside of us. Every single one of us, I betcha. And, like, why don't we let them out sometimes? Why don't you play with some slime?
Yeah.
Play with some slime.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just like little things that if we don't focus on what we don't have, then there's a little more joy in what we do.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of giving into capitalism as well. When I start feeling like sorry for not, having money for stuff, I'm like, well, I don't really participate, and that's kind of my choice. It's been kind of my choice, and it's a privilege to do that.
Yeah.
But So I'm making my own reality.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, just be okay. And that comes with you have to be okay with where you are. Like, I know that I'm playing the machine right now, and that I'm still working a job, and I'm still like working for the man and doing soulless work sometimes, and like I know that I'm still paying too much for my groceries, and like I still have an Amazon Prime membership, like like there are some things that are just a little bit like there.
Yeah.
Right?
Concessions.
Yeah. But also like I want to make sure that I leave space to heal in what is ancestral and childlike to me. Yeah. I think there's a balance that we have to take. And I think that's in everything. And I think in activism especially. And, activism, we need a balance. Like, you can't ask everybody to do... Like, you can't ask everybody to go march out on the streets.
No.
You can't ask everybody to call up their senator. You can't even ask everybody to vote.
Yeah, right.
There are people who can't vote for whatever reason.
Or don't want to vote.
Yeah. And that is okay. And we have to just meet people and help them along the road. Yeah.
That's one kind of, besides fascists, of course, but that's another kind of person I haven't wanted to actually interview in this project is like blue no matter who type people.
Yeah.
Who their only solution is, let's just get out the vote.
Right.
Well, no.
Yeah.
All that energy could be put into something else,
right.
like building something rather than just fending off whomever.
Yeah, yeah. And that's lots of the individualism of westernized culture is a plague. And I've traveled all over the world, and I have seen it firsthand that what we experience in westernized culture, and especially in the United States, especially in our individualized, like, Western expansion, American dreamness, the American dream is a plague, that we lose our empathy, we lose our kindness, we lose our imagination, like all these things that are our communities, like all these things that make us special as humans. From throughout the lineage of who humans are, we have been these people, and we're losing it.
Our natural gifts as humans,
Yeah,
it's almost like with capitalism and specialization, like it's all funneled towards, once again, another hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like, are you doing this for a purpose, for money, for prestige, whatever, instead of joy, instead of just for yourself, for the people around you.
Yeah.
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 For the feeling of singing.
Right.
Dancing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, I'm also part of I'm taking a break, but I'm part of the Resistance Revival Chorus here in Colorado Springs. And we sing at protests and like memorial services and stuff like that.
What kind of songs do you sing?
We sing everything from like climate songs, union justice songs.
Like Joe Hill?
We also do some more like current stuff. There's a whole song called We Shall Be Known.
Okay.
And it's really beautiful, and that's like what I sing to like remind myself, like, as queer people, like, we are here, we are queer, and we are strong, and like we will persist.
Yeah.
All
right, well, I think that's a pretty good place to end. We've been going, this has been a longer interview. It's very enjoyable.
Good,
goodness gracious, we could just keep talking.
I know, right?
I feel like you're really, I try to have the feeling that everybody is a peer, but we have so many connections here.
Yeah, right?
Like, wow.
We can just keep going, y'all.
Yeah, it's unusual for me to find people who are critical of particular communities, too. Like, queer, leather, et cetera, et cetera. So
I understand
like
your struggle.
Yeah,
you said you were like, I stir the pot, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get along.
Basically, everybody hates me. Conservatives, liberals, leftists.
Yeah, all of them.
Everybody
I
hates
get
me.
it. I get it. Oh gosh, that's so good. Yeah, I love it.
All right. Yeah, this is, I have one more interview here in Colorado, in Englewood, which I think is a suburb of Denver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere over there.
Little north, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm heading over 70, actually.
Oh.
Up into the mountains. It's a very steep highway.
And it might snow this weekend, so be careful.
Yeah, that's okay. I actually have a lot of experience with snow driving.
Chill. In the mountains?
No, actually, no. Actually, no, I don't. But I'm also very careful driving.
Yeah, chill. It's the other people you got to be careful of, though.
That's true. It's always some, like, guy in a pickup truck who's, like, on your bumper. That's what bothers me about this place, is that sort of thing. You don't get that so much in Alaska. You get a little bit, but not as much as here.
Oh, gosh,
like
it's
maybe
awful.
1% of what you get here.
Tesla dudes and truck dudes. They're pretty bad.
Yeah. I've even seen a truck called a Rivan or something.
The Revenge?
No, it's like Rivan. It's like a new electric pickup truck. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess that market is kind of taking off.
Now that happened. Okay.
Yeah. We're behind.
They made gay babies. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So I might, you know what? And it clues me in to look for some of the, those little towns that you're talking about and to have maybe a different eye on them.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
It was very nice to
And what's on your shirt here?
Oh, it's Mothman. I love cryptids. I actually have a whole cryptid sleeve here.
I don't even know what that is.
A cryptid? Like, oh my gosh. Again, we could talk for hours.
Nope.
But they're like creatures that we haven't proved that exist.
Okay.
Like Bigfoot.
Okay.
Loch Ness Monster.
So Fantastic
Kind of-ish.
Beasts
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Mothman's one of them.
Mothman. Is it like a cartoon or something?
Point Pleasant, Virginia. No, he's a creature.
Oh.
He's part man, part mouse.
Oh, I see.
He has red eyes.
Oh, okay.
And he eats people. Yeah.
All right, well, look that up.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for spending time with a couple of queerdos here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It was very fun.
And thank you so much for the they gave my dog a sweet little bandana here. I don't know if you see that. Yeah, the green bandana here, sweet.
Little Girl Scout stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a scout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuties.
Good thing. Yeah. All right, bye, y'all.
Bye. Woo!
Woo!
Did it.
We did.
So lovely.